This video is going to be another start to finish oil painting portrait walkthrough. In this one, I'm going to cover a figure study with kind of a nature background. I'm trying to get this one around 8 minutes. We'll see if that's where it ends up at the end, but let's get started. So on screen right now, I've got the kind of structural outline. This is a thinned down linseed oil and oil paint combo, kind of a conglomeration of a bunch of different colors mixed together to get a middle tone kind of brownish color that fits the portrait. Yellow ochre, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, and umber kind of mixed together. So once I've got that structural outline, I always start with try to get a rough shape of the head and then build out the skeletal structure, a line for the angle of the shoulders and a line for the hips, and then kind of build it out that way. Once that initial structure is down, then I start to lay down some different colors, focusing on kind of middle tones and then bringing out yellows and reds and browns. In this portrait, you can see I kind of struggled with the face a little bit. Initially, I had a good size, I think, for the shape of the head, but as I started building in colors, it kind of, I got the jawline wrong, and I got some of the colors wrong and some of the facial details wrong. And I had to really mix this up and readjust some of the features quite a few times. I chopped this video up a little bit, trying to get some of the tedious parts of that process out, but you can probably see in earlier phases of this that I did have to rework facial details. Once I got approximately to the point that this video is at, I think I finally got that face, the facial features, to a point where I liked it. Maybe not quite color. The color may not be exactly where it needed to be, but I at least got the features kind of there. And again, I mentioned the kind of shape and angle of the jaw was wrong when I first started it, so I was able to push the paint around and mold it into a shape that I liked. So once I got the face closer to where I needed it, I started filling in the hair and bringing in some of the background, and also getting a little bit more of the outside of the face kind of filled in. So with the background, I kind of put that towards the middle of this, that dark green. That's a sap green mixed with umber to try to get it as dark as possible. I like to do that sort of in the middle. That way I can get the background down and then sort of blend some of the other features into the background. Produces a nice kind of blended effect around the edges of the head and around the edges of some of the features that I really like. Another part of this that we're at in the video here now is trying to get the fabric to a good place. This is sometimes a struggle for me, mostly because of the texture of fabric. It's a bit of a work in progress. I think I still need some more practice as far as that goes. Trying to get accurate colors for fabric and textures, and then the balance between the cool colors and the warm colors. I can't always get that right. So I think in this one, I was actually able to do a bit better of a job highlighting some cool areas and some areas of that the light is coming through. That I regard as kind of a victory in this painting. I also think with this painting, I did a pretty decent job of how the fabric folds should be depicted. That's another point of weakness that I've been trying to practice. I've explicitly been trying to push that concept and those themes a little bit more in some of my paintings. And with this one, I was able to do that. So particularly what I liked was the bend of the leg where the fabric hangs down, trying to emphasize that. And when I was blending the colors and mixing them, kind of laying down different shades and different tones, I liked the way it looked here. It felt very natural. I felt like this was a situation where practice was actually paying off, where some of the experiences that I'd had previously, those experiences were actually lessons learned that were showing up on paper. So that was kind of nice. The practice felt real in a way that it doesn't always, so that was fun. Once I got some of the fabric and subject stuff more complete, more to a finished state, then I went back to the background here and just sort of filled in some of the rest of the details. This was kind of a mixed bag. I wanted to get some shady areas behind the subject, and I wanted to use some cooler tones, some kind of blue that would mix with the yellow beige to indicate shade. I think that cooler tone was a good decision, but the surfaces do not mix very well, and I'm not sure that it's clear that where that background, that's a cooler shade of the same textured ground. I don't know that that comes through here. So I think if I had taken a step back a little bit and tried to just appreciate what's there, maybe I would have gone back in there and kind of updated it. Another area that I think I had some missteps is the source of light in the top right area. So this was supposed to be where some of the light is coming in and highlighting on the subject. Unfortunately, so I had a good space for light coming in, but unfortunately I closed that space up too much. I think I just got a little overzealous with filling in a lot of those greens. I thought it would be a good idea to sort of fade the greens and make them illuminated more brightly around where the open space is. But what that effort ended up doing is closing the space to where it looks like the opening is very small. It's not the end of the world or anything, but it's not exactly how I wanted that to go. So that was maybe a bit of a misstep. So some of the other victories I think in this one is I like the figure pose. It looks pretty natural to me. I feel like the proportions ended up well. A lot of the look to this worked in my favor. So I really like the end result piece. So one of the things I'm not quite sure about on this is the way the light hits. I mentioned the opening, I closed it too much, I think, but some of the light reflections, that I'm not sure that I got those right or that I really captured what I needed to there. I like some of the light effects. I'm just not entirely sure that I put them in the right places. So from a technical perspective, I don't know if it's the best, but the end result is one that I really like, so that's a victory. So I'm not sure where I ended up time-wise. I hope that I landed around the 8-minute mark. If this walkthrough video was useful to you, definitely let me know. If you like other links for these walkthroughs, I'd love to hear from you about that. Otherwise, that's all I have for this one. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you for the next one.